Hello, and welcome to Staying Global While Staying Home. I'm Lucie Newcomb, your host tonight, and the CEO of the NewComm Global Group, Global Business Success from the Inside Out. I'm pleased to welcome you to an unusual episode. That is to say, it's our final episode in this two-year series. I've had such a pleasure working with a wonderful array of people and experiences from Brazil to MENA, from banking to nonprofits, so many wonderful global business leaders ready to share their workarounds and success stories and lessons, shall we say, about navigating the global pandemic and also how that applies to navigating uncertainty. I just wanted to take a quick moment, again, to say thank you to them and to you for viewing, and also to mention some of the highlights. You know, despite everybody's very different experience and setting, there were some common themes that came forward, and I wanted to take a minute to summarize those for you. The number one, by far, was the acceleration of digital transformation. Now that we've been sitting in the pandemic for nearly 3 years, this is not a surprise. It's, parallel that e-commerce rose, that our ability to communicate rose. People who might have been looking at sales visits on a digital basis suddenly had no other choice. There was no other way to really communicate with customers other than the telephone. So digital acceleration, what one guest said was going to happen in 5 to 10 years, happened in 5 to 10 weeks. So that was an exciting time, and for many of us, a bumpy time to navigate. But I think there are certain aspects that will probably never go back. We'll probably never go back to only live for this or only live for that. So we will see. We're certainly in our transition period at the moment. Another thing that came forward were some wonderful unexpected collaborations, kind of partnering so we could get through this together, especially in the early days when, at least in America, things like toilet paper and water and a few other things were, bottled water, were really in meager supply. So it was wonderful to hear about some of the very creative ways people work together. In Brazil, a hospital and a beer company managed to forge some things. And I know here we had a very creative restaurant because, of course, eating out was not popular. In the beginning, before that was almost banned, they were offering to give away toilet paper for you to come and dine there. So really, there's some very creative thought that's gone on the last couple of years. The other thing I think to mention is kind of not one that we talk about a lot and may take for granted, but I know I was very impressed at the hasty but effective way some international and in some cases global platforms came together to solve some of these problems. And when we looked at the larger problems that we already have been dealing with globally, like climate change, that gave me a lot of heart, and I hope it does others as well. If we could rally to deal with this incredible disease, which of course we're still navigating to a certain extent. And I think there's great hope for those of us who will step up to navigate these bigger global issues like climate change. One of the other issues that came forward, not a delight, but of course we can't handle problems if we don't know what they are, was the apparent lack of equities across many markets. Just the rollout of the vaccines brought that forward. Of course, there are issues about that and some people's personal opinions as well. But with the supply chain being bottlenecked as a result of the pandemic and overloads and short supplies here and there, it really came to light that we could be working a little bit harder on how to create those equities. And I think that relates back directly to the point I just made about having a global platform for solving problems. So I think in tandem, those are two areas where we have lots of opportunity to continue our work. And 5, the silver linings that were revealed. Well, there were quite a few actually. For many, the digital acceleration was considered to be a silver lining because they've been trying to get that moving. As many might suspect, being Silicon Valley based, we would expect that we would see an acceleration in technology being embraced. But for many, that was a silver lining, and so I'm glad for them. New partnerships, as I've alluded to earlier, new levels of collaboration. I don't know how many hospitals and beer companies will work together going forward, but it opened the door for some creative thought around what could be accomplished together. And so with that, we really thank you again for your attention. And I am so honored as the head of a company that helps others go globally business-wise to have hopefully helped many global business leaders not only share their stories, but hear what other people are doing. We really have been in this together. We tend to sort of use that phrase often, but in this case, it was more than true, and hopefully learn from one another. Please join us again next year when we're going to debut a new series called Global Business Minute. And in Global Business Minute, we'll be coming to you a little more often, eventually weekly, probably bi-weekly to start. And we'll be talking, as you can gather, in a minute about what the highlights are. These have been wonderful interviews, and I will continue to broadcast them on social media. And at the same time, it's not always easy to find 20 minutes in a day. So thank you for your time and attention today. Please give us a call if you're interested in doing business internationally. We can help, or learning to lead globally, which is a key part of that success. We're delighted to help you. Thanks again for your time and attention, and all the best for a wonderful 2023 and wrap up of 2022. Bye-bye.